said, I want to shine in the eye of Orion, but I drove my soul through the black hole. She said, it's a wonderful way to wake me. But you weren't so nice last night. You're such an asshole when you're drunk. And he said, at least I'm okay in the mornings. He said the three wise men came a long way, following that pinhole in the sky. Well, yeah, that one right there. She said, I don't believe in any old Jesus. If there was a God, then why is my arse the perfect height for kicking? And he said, I'll shine for you. He said, I'll burn for you. I'll shine for you. And that's what I'll do. He said, they're like headlights in the rearview mirror. Yeah, they're closer than they seem. And from this gutter, we're still staring at the stars. She said, would you go and shite last night? All you did was curse those stars. He said, they sang to you of hope. He said, the sun gives life and it takes it away. But like all the greats, it'll burn out someday. She said, I don't mind. I don't want to get bored. I don't want to end up beached on this shore. I want to be that star. I want to be that star. Oh, let me be that star. I want to be that star. Then I'll shine for you. She said, I burn for you. She said, I'll shine for you. And that's what I'll do. He said those were days of roses, poetry and proses. All I had was you, and all you had was me. All I had was you, and all you had was. That's what I'll do. Yeah, that's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. That's what I'll do.
Do you have a sense that what ye do is a recent invention?
I don't think we're breaking the mold or anything, but I think in terms of our peers and our sort of support group, I think we felt like part of a sort of DIY scene that was, our contemporaries at the time would have been, I suppose bands like The Frames and Tiernan, and I suppose Damien Rice as well, that people were, and a lot of it revolved around Whelan's as a venue, okay, where people would share stages, and there was a lot of, in that DIY sense, there was a lot of sort of sharing of knowledge and resources around recording, around sort of owning the means of production, being able to make your own records and put them out. And I think that was kind of around the birth of the internet, and around how that became a real empowering thing, I think, for musicians to be able to control the means of production and then easily put out records. Back then it wasn't so easy, but it became part of the sort of essential skill set to be able to make your own records. That the recording process was still quite a sort of mystery, and it was for others. It wasn't, musicians wouldn't have a clue what the hell all the knobs did. And there was something very intimidating about that. But I think there was that scene, for me, it felt like the sort of breaking down of those barriers, and people going, yeah, we can actually do this, and we can help each other, and the rising tide can lift all boats, you know.
I think transitioning from the record company era into, as you put it, like the DIY era, that brought on a sense of camaraderie in the community of Irish. Well, a lot of bands, I'm sure, but just when you speak really of the Irish scene, being part of that there was a sense of togetherness rather than people fighting for the deal, or not even fighting for the deal, but kind of, you know, the deal would put you on a pedestal, and you obviously would try to go for that. But everybody felt more like on an even keel, or like the same common ground.
Do you miss gigging?
100%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what do you think is absent from your life when you're not gigging?
I was thinking about this on the way in here, and the sort of, you know, seeing people that we've worked with for years and doing the elbow thing, and how kind of, you know, kind of do it a bit self-consciously, you know, isn't this fucking crazy? And the contact that we're all missing, the sort of unthinking hugs. For me, that performing to a crowd is a physical, offers the same sort of physical contact, and on a very visceral level.
That release.
I really miss that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what it might be like to play in front of a crowd again?
Be really emotional, I'd say.
I mean, the idea of coming in, like, you know, walking through the room and here today, and
yeah, silence was deafening.
the idea of like a 1,500 people, like a standing show in here, has a real fucking energy to it, you know. There'll be something overwhelming about it the first time, for everyone, for audience included, I'm sure.
In terms of venues, you have a very special relationship with here, because you went from doing that, sharing a bill with a band from Navan, which not many bands can say they've ever done. But you went from that to doing 5 nights here, each playing a different, was it a different album or an album in a different way? Those 5 nights.
Yeah.
Was it 2018, I think, or something?
For our 20th anniversary, we did our first 3 records, and then the other 2 nights we did a greatest hits.
An acoustic.
Package. Yeah.
A very spacey acoustic gig on the last night, I'll tell you.
I mean, that's a phenomenal moment of intimacy with a place, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I think of all the venues, this is, we definitely feel like we've come up here, that we've been nurtured, we've been held. You know, back in those, you know, when we weren't selling the room out, you know, Aikens were very supportive and worked with us until we did. And I don't know, there's always been a special welcome, and there's no bad seat in the house as well, which is quite unique in Ireland, I think. There's no other room I can think of that you can say that.
Mm.
There's a remarkable energy here. I kind of sometimes think that it's built on some sort of energy fault line.
Actually, we were told today to come to the stage door, and I don't know where the stage door is. I've only ever come in the front door, so I went around the laneway with the horses.
Yeah,
and there's no stage door there either. Which is kind of nice. There's a sort of a leveler about that, and coming in through the front door and meeting the lads going in through the.
yeah.
Yeah.
Some friends come in and out of view. Last time I looked, we were dancing like dogs on fire. Now I'm laughing with you, little girl, laughing about my sunburn on that day. It's good to see you smile. I remember how I held you as I cried, and flailing like a landed fish, trying to get back to before his day went awry. Who would make the cut when our time is up and everyone pointing at the sky, screaming the end is nigh, it's coming. Like an explorer clearing ground, swinging your blade, flashing in the sun. You cut right through my moping, picked me up and then was on your way. I treasure the scars we'll always have. Well, I don't remember where we were, don't think we've returned. These moments are fleeting as they are pure, but I think you'd make the cut when our time is up and everyone pointing at the sky, screaming the end is nigh, oh, it's coming. Will it be a fireball from the sky? Or will we all take to the bed, laid low by a new pox? Or will the wrong guy get the coats? Whose arms would I seek? Whose eyes would I meet in the final throes? Say it was good to be a human, to be a human with you here. Who would make the cut when our time is up and everyone pointing at the sky, screaming the end is nigh? I think you'd make the cut when our time is up and everyone pointing at the sky, screaming the end is nigh, oh, it's coming. Hold me, 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 it's coming. It's coming. gets too tough, I'll give you way. Be the bullet in my side to remind me that love is pain. Love me, world, I want you to love me, world. Love me, world, I want you. Love me, world, I want you to love me, world. Love me, world, I want you. Afraid of everybody's success, I confess. Everyone's dangerous to my ideas of myself. I was looking for a feeling, but they should me feel me with love. But from my family and friends, even you, my darling's not enough. Love me, world, I want you to love me, world. Love me, world, I want you. Love me, world, I want you to love me, world. Love me, world, I want you. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Love me, world, I want you to love me, world. Love me, world, I want you. Love me, world, I need you to love me, world. Love me, world, I want you. Love me, world, I want you to love me, world. Love me, world, I want you. Love me, world, I want you to love me, world. Love me, world, I want you.
Right, lads, now that we're here, we're giving a bit of a sing-song, will we?
Absolutely, sure, why not? Well, what do you want to do?
Do your one about Brexit there, Paddy.
Oh,
You
yeah,
wanna-
the Brexit song.
That's Yeah. right.
Oh, yeah, that was a lot more relevant now before the pandemic, but
yeah, it was, yeah.
we'll give it a bash, will we?
okay.
We're here now. All right,
Right,
here
yeah.
we go. At Brexit they got frustrated.
Oh, they did.
As it was dragged out and non-stop debated.
Ages.
So we Irish, we feel obligated.
We don't.
To explain to them one simple fact.
True enough.
That we don't understand how the English can't see. After all they've experienced colonially, the one thing that's clear from their history is that it's hard to break free from a union. It's awful hard to break free from a union, lads. That's pretty true. Sure, wouldn't we know all about that in our little island now? We would. You're on. In Ireland for hundreds of years we tried. We even left part of the country behind, so we can't understand all the English surprise. And it's hard to break free from a union. But what about India, lads? Oh, India was a toughie. After 200 years being occupied, the British, they finally stepped aside when asked. Mahatma Gandhi replied, "It is one of life's undeniable facts that it's hard to break free from a union." What about the lads down under? Oh, the Australians! Separated by thousands of miles of sea, they still have the Queen on their currency. It should have been Crocodile Dundee. He was robbed! But it's hard to break free from a union. Then there was the Egyptians. Oh, can't forget them. After 100 years of freedom, their shit's still in the British Museum. Even Tutankhamun's grandson had to pay in to see him. 'Cause it's hard to break free from a union. But they weren't the only ones. Not by a lot. There was a few more. Botswana, Bahrain, Qatar and Nauru, New Zealand, Nigeria, Pakistan too. Singers and Nels, Seychelles, Palestine, Sri Lanka, Malta, all to their time. Miami, Mauritius, Lesotho, Kuwait, Kenya, Jordan, Iraq and Kuwait, Guyana, Grenada, Fiji and Sudan, Jamaica, Malawi, Bulgaria, and France. There's loads more, Johnny, you're just gonna have to speed her up. Brunei, Belize, Barbados, Bahamas, Canada, Cyprus, Dominica, Tonga, South Africa, Solomon Islands, Uganda, Malaysia, Libya, Kiribati, and Ghana, the Gambia, Yemen, Tanzania, Tuvalu, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Uganda, Trinidad, Tobago, Swaziland, St. Lucia, UAE, USA, Antigua, Barbuda, Afghanistan, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. Yes, it's hard to break free from a union. Oh, boys, that's one hell of a list. Thanks be to God for Wikipedia. Tin whistle solo. Here we go. Jeez, is he it all locked down to learn the actual tin whistle now, boy?
He did.
That's a shame. So believe when we say that we know how you feel. Going back again, looking for deal after deal, as the European Parliament slowly revealed.
Well, we are going to make it very hard to break free from this union.
Now we know it's not our fight to fight, and leave or remain, well, we don't give a shite. But it's ruining the news every single night. Why, lads? 'Cause it's hard to break free from a union. Hey!
God, he's so good. He pulls you in and then he just pushes you away.
Less is more.
Hanging on it. I'm left wanting more, but I haven't given anything. Foil arms and hog.
So what do you do and how do you do it?
I started with a difficult
Messers.
one. We're kind of sketch comedians.
Yeah, we get up on the stage, and then they pay us to mess about a bit. Sometimes with a script, mostly with a script.
Well, yeah, you start with the script and then
hope it goes off from the script.
yeah,
So-
things.
I mean, there's such a
that.
tired analogy between stand-up and jazz, but that sounds quite close to, say, the script would be the tune, and then it's about playing music around the tune.
Yeah,
That's a much better
and it can
answer.
be like that is much better. Take that down.
Yeah,
no,
that's-
but
yeah.
it's a bit like you do that, and then sometimes the bits that you say around it are obviously much funnier because they work in that moment on that night. And they might not work the next night. They might, but they might not. And there's a certain annoyance after you finish. You're like, oh, it's really annoying that the jokes we spent ages didn't work. But you've missed the point because without the
Without the jazz.
without the script or the tune, then the jazz wouldn't, or the bits around it wouldn't happen.
Listening to you talk is a lot like listening to musicians talk about the technical aspects of a song, you know, and the kind of particular chord changes and particular chord sequences and repeating a chord sequence. It sounds very, I'm just struck by that, the level of technical skill.
I would have thought that. A lot of people in comedy talk like that. We've never talked comedy.
Yeah.
We just talk to each other about comedy, I
maybe
suppose.
that's it, yeah.
How important is your online work?
Yeah.
Huge.
This is the biggest part, really,
Especially
yeah.
this year.
Especially now. Yeah.
So can you give me an example of, say, numbers who might watch a sketch or who have watched a sketch?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, we've got a regular like people who come back every week of, I guess,
Well, there-
a few 100,000. Like,
yeah. We're slow and steady.
it's slow and steady.
We've been slow and steady for 11 years.
Keeping people on board. We're keeping the people. You know, you get to know the names and you get to know
Yeah,
people
yeah.
who contribute. And
I suppose across all the platforms, yeah, you're right. It's a couple of 100,000
yeah,
a
it's a
week.
couple of 100,000 a week. Yeah.
But they're all
That's
over the
phenomenal,
world.
really. That's
great.
Yeah, and that's great. That's the new people. That's the people who watch the new piece. But there's all the other people who watch all the. That's the best part about it. Like if you're on the telly, you say you have 6 episodes. Your 6 episodes go out week. You know, and then they're gone. I mean, great if you get a rerun in the summer or something.
Yeah,
That's it. Whereas ours is they just live there forever.
The backlog is constantly there being watched.
Yeah. So if someone goes, oh, I kind of like that 2-minute video. What else did they have, or whatever?
And then they can go to, was it 350?
350 other sketches and just keep watching.
And what relationship do you think there is between the online stuff and the live work in terms of audience numbers?
Well, that's why we started doing the videos.
Yeah.
We only started doing it to try and encourage people to come to the shows. And because of that, the stuff that we filmed, we never really did in the show because we were like, oh, they've seen that, they don't want to see it again. But up until this year, it was just a great, like, as soon as we got a bit of a presence with the videos, the numbers of the shows kept going up and up and up, and it was amazing. And then we just got really lucky this year when the pandemic hit that we had an online audience that a lot of maybe other people in a similar situation with the comedians maybe wouldn't have had that live audience, and we could then capitalize on that and keep going. So we had something to do for the year and build that, so it was great.
Beyond the Fringe was the first sketch group that I ever became aware of, and it's phenomenal. And then the Pete and Dud sketches, Peter Cook and Dudley Moore, and my first introduction to an Irish sketch group would have been, I kind of half saw little bits of Mr. Trellis.
We've seen...
And the Noolas then after that, and it's kind of...
Yeah.
There aren't many of you in it, like.
No, there aren't really. It's very hard to keep people together. I mean, maybe that goes back to your tensions thing, like, you know.
Your success in Ireland is huge now, and you're able to... I remember someone saying to me, sold out a couple of nights in Leisureland in Galway, like the click of a finger and stuff like that, and you're doing probably 20, 25 nights a year here.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, that's phenomenal, isn't it?
It's hard to imagine, really.
It is hard to imagine. You still have that feeling that you put on a show and no one's going to come. Like, that never leaves me. I still have like...
You look at the tickets, the advertising, the tickets, you're like glued.
I'm obsessed with looking at a show and go, that's it, no, we pushed it too far and people are sick of it. They will be. That never leaves you. Oh, well, it just never leaves me.
They'll find me out.
So can you tell me about what it's like to perform, what it meant to you performing in Vicar Street, and what the feeling of performing in Vicar Street is like?
Well, it's amazing. I mean, now it's like our home gig. This is just the most fun, most relaxed. We just feel really, like, even before we came down to the interview here, like waiting in the green room upstairs, it just feels really normal and nice.
Real home vibe, yeah.
so you have Dublin and you have Connemara and you have rock and roll and trad.
Yeah.
Now, the funny dynamic that you've kept up or something, or is that even...
Yeah, it never felt kind of dissonant, to be honest. I mean, I think, interestingly, you know, I think there's an interesting thing with Irish, I find, where, you know, with English, I find English to be far more puritanical language, you know, whereas kind of, it's far more shame locked in English, whereas, you know, in Connemara, it would be quite common in the course of banter for there to be very playful talk about sex and, you know, between the generations, you know, from old men and women down to with children there. And there wasn't any sense of like it being gauche or it being odd or wrong or shameful. So it's interesting, whereas perhaps people's non-Irish speakers' perception of the language is something that's kind of locked in this kind of Victorian, you know, moralistic kind of thing, where I think it's nothing could be further from the truth.
I think that as a learner, I think what seems a very large gap is between that feeling that it's a tough language and the fluency to be able to be playful.
Yeah, exactly.
But one of the things I've noticed about the Irish language is I think it's full of empathy. I feel as if the sound of the words is just, there's more generosity and more heart in them and more just, it's a language that's full of empathy is
I mean, there's lovely phrases. I mean, my dad had a phrase, like, I mean, well, firstly, he'd call his phone Pibra Poker. That was his name for it. So, like, the piper in my pocket, so it would go off. You know, it's just, and or the word for an escalator, an stair bio, the living stairs, you know. Or what was the other one I was thinking of? Oh yeah, just a phrase like, if you were to say, oh geez, that's great to hear that, you'd say Miller Machri Shinnachlistel, you know, so honey on my heart, to hear that, you know. So it's just a whole other frequency. And I suppose I think the great sadness really is that most, I think, Irish people are kind of feel as if they're looking, that there's glass between them and their birthright, you know. It's a terrible thing.
Or else that we live in that dynamic space, that energized underground of between two languages.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that there's, you know, that friction comes from things that are unfinished, and it's that friction that gives us life, you know. The trad world seems to me to be, I was talking to Lisa O'Neill about this, that it's a musical life that can exist independent of the musical industry.
Yeah.
That you don't need big crowds, you can do it in the kitchen. It's as natural in a kitchen as it is in a stadium, you know.
More natural.
More natural. Is that your sense of it as well, or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, you know, even still, like, I mean, I suppose I started my earning life as a 14-year-old busker on Grafton Street, which kind of frightens me because our youngest is 15 now, and for him to be going out into the street every weekend or whatever. But I mean, he'd be grand. But so then kind of a band happening and kind of falling. The whole purpose of my life was really to have a life in music rather than it to be a career or to have, you know, celebrity or fame.
We thinking, like, what stuff are you playing on the street at 14?
Keela was our school band. So I was myself and Russ and Ronan and Owen Dillon founded Keela in school in Closh-Owen. And then 5 or 6 years ahead of us were Fiachna and Liam from the Hottest Flowers, and they started busking, and then myself and Owen took a notion to go in and, you know, get a bit of pocket money for cigarettes, you know.
Playing trad tunes?
Playing trad tunes, yeah.
And what tunes did you notice earned you the most money?
Like up-tempo, sure, yeah. So it'd have to be like reels and jigs. but it was nice. I mean, it was a good pairing with sitting, like we used to sit on the pipe box. The best pitch was down in, like, outside Clarendon Street Church, you know, down that, in front of the jewellers there. There's a kind of, the acoustics really good
Yeah.
with the tight thing. And you just, it's funny, and just from that whole aspect of being a musician on the street, you kind of, once you stay static on the street, you disappear and the world goes by. And it's a really interesting, you start to notice the other pieces of the street that aren't moving, like the flower sellers, and then behind that you have the pickpockets and the shoplifters and and so we'd be busking in, at that time we would have been busking in like the Abbey Mall and Henry Street as well. So like lively, and it was really educational, informative, like, because I'd come in from, Southsider suburbs, Blackrock, and so it's just great to meet people from Ballymun, fellow musicians like Glenn was from Ballymun, and Mark Dignan was from Finglas, and Mick Christopher was from Clondalkin, and so it was great.
Yeah.
There's a lovely balance about it.
What are your feelings about Vicar Street?
Vicar Street is I think we, as the Frames, our clubhouse was Whelan's, and then we graduated to Vicar Street, and we'll happily stay in Vicar Street and have the same relationship as a solo musician, where it feels like the balance is right as regards that the in favor of the music over the commerce. So the understanding is, the better we can facilitate the music, the more pleasurable and the experience will be for everybody. And that's the basic philosophy, and you can feel that in places across the world that you walk into. Whether it be Massey Hall or there are certain places you walk into and you can feel that there's an unwritten kind of understanding as regards that it feels like safe. Feel safe there as an artist,
One day we meet trouble halfway, and we'll say, oh, why'd you gotta be that way? Trouble, look around you. Everything is beautiful. Yeah, now look around you. What you gonna do that for? One day we meet trouble halfway, and she'll say, just a taste and I'll be on my way. Oh, you think I wanna hang around here? Nah, I'll never again darken your door. But you step to her with no fear and say, these aren't the droids you're looking for. 'Cause baby, one little push from you, you got me on the upswing. Even without trying to, you got me on the upswing. One day we meet trouble halfway. We'll take the window in a diner off the highway. Say, not trouble, let's work this thing out. On the table I'm squeezing your hand, and it's giving me steel to say, now this is how it's gonna be. 'Cause baby, one little push from you, you got me on the upswing. Even without trying to, you got me on the upswing. Yeah, baby, one little push from you, you got me on the upswing. Even without trying to, you got me on the upswing. Oh yeah. Yeah, you got me on the upswing. Yeah, you got me on the upswing. Yeah, you got me on the swing. Baby, one little push from you, you got me on the swing. Baby, one little push from you, you got me on the upswing. Oh, yeah. Even without trying to, you got me on the upswing. We can you.